All right, today's video is proof that marketing works. Hey lovelies, I am excited for today's fragrance review. If you know, I had said that I really was planning on just like not getting any samples for quite a while because I have so many scent samples in my collection, but the gram, it's all due to seeing ads for this brand on Instagram. Whoever is in charge of the imagery for this brand, A++, it's so intriguing, so it just draws you in, and I was so darn curious about Maison des Animaux, and I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help myself, so I had to dive in and try a few scents from this brand, and by a few, I mean I got one of the Discovery packs, so that's 5, and then 2 more scents, and the brand threw one in as a little like gift with purchase. It seems like they do that a lot from the reviews that I was reading. So we are gonna dive in to 8 scents today. But if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist and fragrance fanatic. And here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. It has been a while since I have done fragrance reviews here on my channel. As I've said before, they don't really perform all that well, but I love doing them. And so this is for me as much as it is for you. But really, if you enjoy fragrance, you're gonna wanna stick through this one, because I think there's going to be something for everybody in here. And I honestly think, I mean, just spoiler alert, I think that this is a very unique brand. The scents in here are, they've just got something a little different to them. They just have something a little different to them. Like I said, it was the marketing that drew me in, the imagery, which I will share the little like ad images for each of these scents as we go in because they're just so good. I also wanted to look into this brand a little bit because I didn't know anything about them. And so I just want to read a little clip from the site. It says who we are. Maison des Animaux is what happens when 2 sisters, one perfumer and one on a recovery journey, decide to build a fragrance house with a focus on personality over pretense and craveability over convention. And I read that after I sort of dove into all of these fragrances, and I really get that. I think that they are really living true to this vibe. So I have worn each of these several times now. When I do a review on my channel, unless it's like something that a lot of you have just been like chomping at the bit to hear about, I really want to sit with these for a while. Of course, we know sometimes our preferences can change a little bit, or depending on the temperature outside, depending on your vibe that day, like whatever it might be. And I do think that there was an evolution for me with these, so I always want to be able to sit with these. These are not first impressions by any means. I've actually had these since maybe a week after Mother's Day because the brand was doing a sale that weekend and I decided to snag these. Now, here's the little discovery set. I do have to say I always appreciate it when a brand offers a discovery set that you get to build yourself, and that's exactly what you get to do. You get to pick out 5 scents to try, and then you can, of course, buy them a la carte as well. I will say there were a few out of stock that I was really hoping to try. I did get to pick out a couple that were on my list, but a couple that I didn't get to snag. If you're curious to know which ones those were, stick around and I will share that at the end of the video because I'm definitely building a wish list already. Okay, so this Discovery pack is $22 at full price, and I think that that's a really good deal. You get very nice these bottles were fairly full when I got them, so it's not like the little 2 milliliter samples and they come and it's like, you know, they're already like half empty. We've all had that happen. These have nice sprayers. They're, you know, a really good quality, and they are sprayers, not daubers. I hate a dauber. Don't love that experience at all. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into these scents. So I'm gonna start out with the one that out of what I got was the most alluring to me. This is the one that I knew that I was gonna be putting in right away. There are actually 2, and again, because of the imagery and the notes, kind of like a combo of both. I do really love that they have a few images for each scent, just to like evoke the vibes of the scent, and they put like the keynotes on the picture as well. So it's just really nice, informative, but also inspiring. So we're going to talk about Sirius. Now, I do love a good scent story, so I am going to share at least a few of the scent stories that the brand has here, and then also the notes for you. So they say that this is the sweetest Guatemalan cardamom, rare Roku vetiver, I'm probably saying that wrong, black Kimoon tea oil, and vanilla absolute from Madagascar. And I just a little side note here. I know that the brand really focuses on where they are sourcing their ingredients, getting really high quality ingredients and things that are a bit different than what you're used to in conventional perfumes. So I really appreciate that because you're going to get a little bit of a different vibe from all of these. Unisex and versatile, it starts bright and spicy and dries down into a warm, sweet, and rich woody musk. An olfactory cashmere sweater, warm, soft, a constant favorite. I mean, this just sounded so good to me. Maybe not what I would normally do, like going into the warmer season, obviously. Again, when I bought these, it was like early May, mid-May. When is Mother's Day? I don't even know, but I knew that this was going to be a vibe that I would really enjoy. So the top notes are cardamom, fig, vanilla, pink pepper, and elemi. The middle notes are osmanthus and black tea, and the base are Mysore sandalwood or Mysore sandalwood, tonka, vetiver, benzoin, and olibanum. Listen, I might not know how to pronounce everything in here, but it all sounds good. So right away, as you can see on the imagery, they talk about sandalwood, fig, and chai, and it's like literally all three of those things are top notes that I love. Like, just I was like, yep, saw those notes features and I was like, I have to try this one. So I think what I really love about this scent is it is so, it's spiced, but it's not like punch you in the face. And it also, sometimes some of those spicy scents can get overly sweet. You know, if you've done any of like the Middle Eastern fragrances, sometimes they can be like really heavily sweet. And this is not. You get, oh my gosh, you get the cardamom right off the bat, the fig, the vanilla. I get a little bit of that pink pepper, and I can get down with a little pink pepper. I don't love black pepper in things, but pink pepper I can do. And you get the black tea in this, and that is something that I think is hard to have come through in spicy scents sometimes. Sometimes the spice is just really overwhelming. I get the tonka and the benzoin. This is just such a cozy scent, and it's on the drier side of that like spicy sweet, is if that makes any sense at all. And I say dry and sweet at the same time. Like you get that cozy richness from the vanilla, but it's not like sugary sweet. This is sexy. This is so sexy, but in like a earthy sexy way, you know, like not a try hard way. Oh my gosh, it just smells so good. Definitely one I love. I think at the end I'll have to share the ones that I'm thinking of picking up in full sizes. Oh, I really enjoy this one. So I was so glad to have tried that one. Oh, I should probably pull up my notes. I did take notes as I was experiencing these scents. All right, so my initial thoughts on this was dry chai spice, not overly sweet. The fig is rich, but not jammy or caramelized, and not green. Because you know, fig can either be like the fig leaf, which definitely comes off like more green and herbaceous, or it can be like that rich, earthy fig, and that's what you get from this. And I did say that there was a bit of a masculine touch at the beginning. I think that that's that punch of cardamom. This is unisex. I definitely think it's unisex. You have to be into that like creamy vanilla though, you know, and yeah, I definitely, oh gosh, this one smells so good. Okay, so now moving into the other scent that I knew that I wanted to get from the imagery, and that is Cloudbreath. And I probably should have smelled this one first because it's more delicate than Sirius, but oh well, we're just gonna go with it. So the notes that are featured in this are malted cream, violet, and lychee. I have been having a moment with violet recently. Like I have just been really loving that. I feel like it has a very feminine, like girly feel to it. And so I was really intrigued by that. The malted cream sounded very interesting just because I love like malted flavored things. So smelling malted sounded really fun. So they say a sweet puffy cloud of bliss, an airy white musk that floats in a cloud of white floral and sweet lychee notes. Rich, lightly abstract, sweet and addictive, made with an abundance of orris butter, royal Hawaiian sandalwood, jasmine flowers, and tonka. Oh, you guys, this is so beautifully delicate. It is cozy, but Sirius is that like warm, toasty fall night cozy. This is like you just got out of the shower. You are getting under like a fluffy blanket. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So the top notes are soft iris, violet, and lychee. The base notes are malted cream, airy puffs of vanilla, tonka, and your last great kiss. So something I want to read what I had wrote with this one, because this I sort of had like an evolution with. So I said malty amber, then a fresh burst. Violet is more soft and dry, a very different take on a cozy skin scent, a scent that you wear for yourself. And I mean, obviously we all wear fragrance for ourselves, but the reason I noted that is I love the experience of putting this on, having that like delicate, warm experience. But unfortunately, I find that this one isn't long lasting, and it definitely isn't a projector. So this is truly that one that you are wearing for your own experience. This would be great for like before bed. It's good for just like being around the house, or honestly, if you want to feel scented, but you don't want to be like overly cloying to someone. I don't think that this is a summer. I mean, you could get away with this in the summer because it is lighter weight. But for me, again, this is going to be like fall through spring, I think. I tell you what, it smells better on than it does on this, because here I'm like, it's nice, but every time I spray it on, I'm like, oh my gosh. In fact, the one night I had sprayed it on a sweatshirt, and I took the sweatshirt off for whatever, and then I ended up putting it back on. And when I put it back on, I could just smell that, and I was like, it was just like so transformative. It's really nice. It's very nice. So definitely one that I like. I do wish that it lasted a little bit longer, but with those cozy, more like skin-like scents, and I don't mean skin, I guess I don't mean like a skin scent as in it smells just like you, but it's that like lives near you kind of scent. Hopefully that makes sense. We're gonna take a break from the sort of spiciness, and we're gonna move into something fresh. In fact, the brand said that this is their first freshie, and this is Paloma. All right, you all know that I struggle with the citrus scent sometimes. I don't like the ones that smell like cleaning products, or even if they don't initially smell like cleaning products, they end up smelling like a cleaning product on me. This is not that. I was a little concerned. I was very curious about this one. I was a little concerned because of one of the notes. The top featured notes in this are grapefruit, cactus blossom, and mezcal. And it was the mezcal that I was like, if this is going to be really smoky, I'm not going to be into it. I don't get into smoky. I can get into like a little bit of like a warm fireplacey kind of thing, but not the really smoky stuff. So this luckily isn't that. I will say this is a very bitter fragrance, and I think there's something about that that makes this really unique. It definitely is a great burst for those days where maybe you're feeling like really hot and sticky, and this is just a vibrant, it's a very vibrant scent. We have top notes of pink grapefruit, cactus blossom, sweet orange, green mango, a warm Santa Ana blowing across the desert. I definitely get that green mango. I mean, of course, grapefruit can be really bitter, but that green mango scent is, I'm definitely getting that. Then the base notes are Texas cedar, lightly smoked mezcal, the first sip of something refreshing after a long day. This is nice. I am going to say for me, this tips a little bit more into a masculine vibe, just because of that like bitterness, the little bit of smokiness that's in here. But I have worn this and really enjoyed it. I will say for a freshie, this also lasts a decent amount of time. Yeah, it's definitely unique. I could see Jeremy really liking this. I haven't had him try any of these because he just gets overwhelmed. But I'm like, try this, try that, try that. But I will definitely have to be having him try this one. In fact, I'll be able to do that before this video goes up. So I'll put a little note here if there's anything that I've had him try. Now we're gonna move into something that I think is very summer appropriate. I have to say, I do not remember which one of these is the one that they sent me and which of these that I ordered. And I tried to get into my account to see it, and they're having like errors right now, so I couldn't do that. But because this is one that I sort of teeter-tottered with trying, because the notes don't sound unique. And so I was like, is this going to be something different than what I sort of have? But I thought it sounded very, very intriguing. So we have Holiday, and the featured notes are toasted coconut, Jamaican rum, and vanilla cream. I mean, what more can you say? Vacation in a bottle, right? So the brand says, the warm honeyed musk of sun-kissed skin on a tropical beach. Solar and warm, subtle sweetness balanced with a warm hum of toasted coconut and spiced rum. I think that the thing that I love about this scent is it isn't too sweet. You all know, I say this a lot. Like, I don't want anything that's too sweet. This is one of the sweetest in here, not the sweetest, but one of the sweetest, but it's still not that like choke you out if you're in like a warm, sticky day. But it definitely has like a sweet vibe. So the top notes are that toasted coconut, spiced Jamaican rum, sun-warmed skin, and then you have the base notes of vanilla cream, tonka, pimento wood, and nutmeg. For some reason, this is the one that I didn't write any notes on, but I think that I wore this like 3 or 4 times. This is probably the least unique of the set because it has that sort of like fruity, you get that like creamy coconutty, you definitely get the rum, which I love. You know I love a good booze moment. It's very warm. I love that it's not overly sweet. If you love those sort of summertime scents and you want something that just, this smells luxurious and very well balanced. I think that's what it is about this. This isn't going to smell like something that you get at like Bath and Body Works. It's not overly cloying. It's not cheap scented. It smells really nice. I will really enjoy the sample that I have. I don't see picking it up just because that's just not something that I need, but I was very curious to try it. And by the way, you can do a deeper dive into these scents. They have even more like story notes in the bottom a lot of times, which I love. I just love, a lot of fragrance is like storytelling, the vibe that you're gonna get, maybe the vibe that the creators got when, you know, putting this together. So I really enjoyed that experience. All right, we're moving into one that I was very curious to try, and I knew it was going to be a big gamble just from reading some of the reviews. I was like, this might not be the vibe for me, but I was really curious to try it, and that is Kefi. And the top notes in this, not the top notes, the featured notes are black currant, amber, and candied ginger. All of those things are things that I really love. I had a really like big moment with black currant last year. The only thing is sometimes it can come across very strong and very like overpowering. So I was curious about this, and I felt like in reading some of the reviews that this one might be a little more masculine than what I was going to want. So the top notes in this are cardamom, black currant, and pink pepper, and then the base is sandalwood, vanilla, and candied ginger. So it sounds simple, but like it's not. It is, I would say that this is one of the more complex of these. We'll see if I still say that by the time I get to the end. So I had longer notes on this one. So I said that this one feels a bit medicinal at the opening, almost mentholated. And I think that that is coming from that cardamom. If you've ever like bitten into a cardamom pod, you can get that like numbing sensation, or you just get that like numbing vibe from it. And that, like even just now when I sprayed it, I was like, ugh, but that does go away very quickly. It's just in that opening, and then you have a warm wood and resin. And I said I didn't think I'd like it at the first spray, but I wore it to bed and fell in love. So cozy and warm, a definite fall and winter scent, but might be a for me scent wearing it at home. And what I mean by that is it has some strength. This one has some longevity and it has some power and projection. So I don't know that I could wear this to work where I'm like this close to people. This would be date night. Oh my gosh, just now it honestly, it has such a warm temperature. It's like there is a beautiful candle going. You definitely have a cup of like ginger tea. You got some like spices. Oh my gosh, it just smells like toasted spice. I love this. I am so glad that I tried this out. I think I'll be getting one of these before fall and winter for sure. Yeah, that one was definitely a risk for me. And I know for sure if I was like in a store and put it on a fragrance card, I would just get that burst right away of that cardamom and I would be like, nope. And I would totally overlook it, which would be such a shame because it's so beautiful. So if any of that sounds like you might like it, I would recommend picking up a sample. By the way, the samples on their own, I think, are $5. All right, so now moving into Le Cirque. So this one, again, I wish I could remember which ones I decided to go for and try, but this was, man, they did this one really well. Okay, so the featured notes in this are dark chocolate, espresso, and Cuban cigar. Again, you can probably tell from this that this is probably not one that most people are going to want to wear in the summertime. But this is a riot of dark chocolate covered espresso beans, toasted sugar cane, Mysore sandalwood, Haitian vetiver, and a puff on a Cuban cigar. This is a conversation over a late night espresso that you never want to end. It is so fun, so rich, and entirely sexy. Yeah, I definitely agree. So again, they did this so well because it does have a touch of sweetness, but it is not overly cloying. To me, this has that very dry cocoa scent. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So you have dark chocolate, espresso, and heliotrope, and then the base is tobacco, patchouli, vanilla, Haitian vetiver, and then you also have the Mysore sandalwood. By the way, I did look it up. It's a city in India. I was like, I have to figure out how to pronounce this because this is obviously a very featured note in this fragrance company. So, oh my gosh, this just smells so good. So my notes on this were that it is dark cocoa and toasted almonds, warm but not overly sweet, like rich ganache. Yeah, you definitely get that cocoa. It's not as dry as oh my gosh, the one from Imaginary Authors, the one that's like off of an espresso martini, that has a dry cocoa in it. This is a little bit sweeter. It's like, yeah, honestly, a more creamy cocoa. Like I wanted to say fatty cocoa, but like, oh, that might turn you off. So this just has a beautiful balance. Wow. Like I said, I think that one of the things that this brand is doing so well is creating a lovely balance of a scent that isn't overly sweet. I'm sitting here on a day, I mean, it's not, 85 in my house right now, but it is 85 degrees out. We're in the tip top of July and this isn't making me sick to my stomach. So this is beautiful. Like if you love a good gourmand, this is going to be a gorgeously done gourmand that isn't just like, I don't want to smell like something that's on a dessert menu. I want to have those little tips of inspiration from that, but I don't want to smell like something you'd actually eat. This is just that sex appeal that comes along with that. And I do get that tobacco note. The patchouli isn't strong in here. I think it's just in the base to kind of like gather everything together and ground it. Ooh, so good. So good. Boy, I'm gonna really have a hard time picking out the ones that I want to get because there's more than I had anticipated. All right, now moving into Sugarwood. So the featured scents are cherrywood, cocoa husk, and dried plums. Doesn't that just sound so good? Like that just sounds so intriguing. Yeah, it just sounded so intriguing. So Sugarwood is a warm and lightly sweet amber wood. This tribute to cherry blossom trees evokes every part: blossom, bud, bough, and fruit. Softly gourmand with hints of cocoa and sweet Hawaiian sandalwood, it is deep, unique, and entirely unisex. So the top notes here are cherry blossom, sweet orange, and heliotrope and jasmine. The base notes are cocoa husks, vernal sweetgrass, Hawaiian sandalwood, and dried plums. So this one for me is what I actually get out of this is like cherry and tobacco. I will say off of the front spray, it has a little bit of a cough syrup vibe. I don't love that initial burst, but it does dry down into that like cherry tobacco. It's resinous and a little bit spicy. Like it's very sexy. It's balanced. I just kind of feel like cherry has been so done. It's been so done. So I feel like this is one that I don't need, but if you love a good cherry, that cherry wood, like it's very well done. It's just like nothing that I need. And again, I would say that this is very unisex, almost maybe a little bit more unisex than what I would go for with a cherry scent, but it's hella sexy. All right, our last one that we're gonna go over is Cordial, and we have Calvados, Whiskey Barrel, and Caramel Apple. does, again, like those notes, like they are just killing it with something that is like so different. So this is a snifter of Calvados, a caramel apple, a hint of musk. This is a lightly fruity gourmand that reaches for more sophistication than simple candy. A caramel dressed up for a night at the opera. It is playful, sweet, but entirely grown up. And that is the thing that I think about all of these scents, is they are very grown up. Even the gourmands aren't those like candy yum yum, overly like juvenile, you know, like this is sexy, grown up, experienced, like, yeah, it just, everything in here just seems to give like an experienced vibe. All right, so the more detailed notes, gosh. Okay, we have Ceylon cinnamon, apple, cognac, candied orange peels. The base notes are cashmere musk, vanilla absolute, royal Hawaiian sandalwood, whiskey aged oak barrels, and myrrh. All right, so this is one that when I first sprayed it out, I was like, kind of like been there, done that. I will say that the scent profile, to a point, we have all smelled a little bit, but this is very well balanced. It's, again, it's very grown up. My notes on this are a familiar scent profile at the opening, but not cloyingly sweet or overpowering. The only problem with this one is, on me, this has a powdery dry down that I didn't love. If you know me, I don't love a powdery scent. I just can't get down with that note. I am not sure what it is in here that gives me that vibe. I don't know what it is, but I didn't love that. I love the way it smells on here right now. I will be curious to come back like in a half an hour and an hour and smell this, because this one, and again, I got these going into like a warm season, so I'll have to try this one more time to kind of like vibe it out. But I do remember that I just felt like it had a powdery dry down. I get a lot of wood. Like right now I'm getting that whiskey aged oak barrel out of here. I'm getting the myrrh, like that resinous undertone. It's so beautiful. It's just the dry down. If it gets that powdery vibe, I'm not into it. So that one's a to be continued sort of thing. And some of these, you know, come the cooler months, I might change my mind on, right? All right, so now that I've given you my thoughts on all these, I'm gonna like take a moment and maybe pick out my top 2 of what I think I wanna get in full sizes. Top 2, top 3, we'll have to see. Okay, so I have to say I enjoyed pretty much every scent in here, and I can definitely respect every scent in here. Like, while some notes might not be exactly what I would want, I think that these are all well done. There's nothing in here that I'm like, oh my gosh, run fast. There are some that I'm like, run fast to go try it out if it sounds like something you'd enjoy, but there's nothing that I'm like, you should stay away from this. So that being said, I do have to say that right now, I think that my number 1 pick is Kefi, just because it is so different than what I have in my collection. And at this point, because I have so many things, I'm really trying to be selective, and this is just so good. It's one that I wouldn't wear right now for the next couple months, but dang, I really like it. I'm like smiling so much, it just makes me so happy. I have to say that right behind Kefi is Sirius, and I knew that I was probably gonna like that one. Like I was not really surprised. I was hopeful and they didn't let me down. Now, Cloudbreath is one that is on my list to consider, but because it is so fleeting for me, it's not one that I'll probably get right now. I will say one thing that I appreciate is that these come in 30 ml bottles, and that's the only size other than like the small sample, and they are in between, I think, like a $55 to $60 range, depending on the scent that you get. So that doesn't bother me at all, having something that's maybe a little bit of a smaller bottle option. You can try a couple at a price that is fairly reasonable. It's not like the least expensive, but it's certainly, for the uniqueness and for the quality ingredients that are in this, I think that you're really getting a good deal. I do have to say that the packaging on these is fairly simple and basic. That does not bother me at all. That's definitely not only an aesthetic choice, but then I also know that you're not paying higher price for some like crazy out there bottle that is so expensive. And while we enjoy the way the packaging looks, it's not like we put it around our neck and wear it as a necklace for the day. Like, I just don't understand paying top dollar for something that you know, really isn't a part of my experience throughout the day. I don't want something ugly. I'd rather have something simple, understated, and cost saving in that way. There are so many, especially now after trying the brand, there are so many others that I want to try. So I honestly might just end up buying a whole other discovery pack. Like looking here, I know that Orate was one that I had wanted to try. That one is sandalwood, labdanum, and vanilla, all scents that I really enjoy. I think one of the ones that I was really curious about that was sold out was Celeste, which is honey, ambrette, and vanilla. Like, that sounds like a dream to me. You have Closer, which is tobacco, bourbon, and vanilla. While that sounds good, it does sound like something that we see a lot of, so I would maybe try it. But, you know, I have a feeling that's one that it's like, yeah, okay, if I got it, would I feel like it's similar to some other things? Perhaps. We have Sinner, which is incense, plum, and ambrette. Very tempting, but the incense, I'm like, you know, it's kind of that like scary thing, but it's $5. $5 is not that scary, or way less than $5. What is it if you pick up, hold on, we're gonna do the math quick. If you're getting the set, it's like under $4.50 a crack. So then we have Nostalgia, which is jasmine, vanilla, and cedar. I think that that's probably a crowd pleaser. The other one that I'm really curious to try is Prairie, which is sweetgrass, honeyed fig, and matcha. Like these notes just sound so like earth inspired. Oh, just a vibe. And then if you were a leather fan, they have some scents like Tomboy that have leather. They have a few that have leather. You know, that's not something that I'm into, but like Tomboy is vanilla, leather, and amber, which is, again, something that I feel like we've seen out there. So I feel like there are probably some that are reminiscent of scent combinations that we've seen, and some that are like so different. So I definitely recommend checking out the site, seeing if there's anything that you are curious to try. I have had a lot of fun having this experience of getting to try all of these, and like I said, there are some that are going on my full-size wish list and some samples that I might snag at some point soon. So if you are curious to know more about those other scents, let me know. If you'd like me to do an updated review on the ones that I haven't tried yet, I would certainly consider doing that for all of you. If you have any questions, leave them down below. And of course, if you have tried Maison des Animaux, we would love to hear your thoughts on the fragrance house as well. All right, that's it for today's fragrance review. I hope you enjoyed. Maybe you found a scent that sounded interesting to you, or just a fragrance house that you're gonna be interested to look into. Again, please let me know if you've tried any of these. I love having fragrance chat with all of you, and I will see you really soon.